Glorious day, Cross Church family. This is Mario Davis, the Associate Pastor, for those of you who don't know me. And it is my turn in the Elder Devotionals, and I just hope that the message I give just helps you just get through the week. I'm going to be reading today from Ephesians 4, verses 1 through 5. And that is, as a prisoner for the Lord, then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is only one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God, and one Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. And I share this verse today because after some time last week, our family, we had a little bit of a fight. Not our whole family, but our youngest son was upset because he noticed that about 5 to 6 years ago, he and his older brother would constantly hang out all the time. They would get along better. They hardly ever fought, or if they did, it might have been like more physical play fighting, if anything. But they would just do almost everything together. And he came back recently stating the fact that he was rather frustrated because they don't do as much anymore. And so he was rather upset about that. And I had to tell my youngest son that people change and that it's okay that people do change. We grow, we mature, our tastes will change, and that is okay. And I actually had to state that I too have also had that happen, where I have a best friend of mine where back when we were all 20, we were all hanging out on his couch. We would all play games. We would all just drink and just chill at his house and not do anything on a Saturday, but just all hang out together after work. And it was fun times. But we're now all 40, and one of our friends we don't really get to see much anymore. And out of the four of us, because there were four of us, one of our friends has passed on. One we don't get to hang out with anymore, and the friend who I was speaking with was speaking to me long distance because he's up in Minnesota. And so he was telling me even that, which he wasn't getting mad directly at me, but he was still also venting his frustration at me. So it was a roundabout way of getting upset at me, but it was more about the situation. And that was the fact that he was mad that he couldn't get to talk to me as much because we're long distance, and that he also too felt like things had changed. And I had to just finally stop him and say, I understand. It is very frustrating to have to go through change. We are both in different seasons of life. And I had to explain to him that we're no longer the guys who sat on the couch at 20 chilling at your house drinking soda and just sitting there shooting the breeze and just talking about anything stupid that came to our minds. We have grown. We've had to change. I'm married now with kids. We don't have that same lifestyle anymore, and that's okay. We just have to learn that that's a season and that we have to navigate through that, and that we need to have the patience to understand that people will change and that we need to be able to grow with them as they do change. And now, I also want to further state, because along with those changes or that we see with people in our relationships, our relationship with God is also the same way. We will change, but God never changes. And that's a beautiful thing, church. God never changes. God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so I just want to state to you that when we change, if anything, we should be trying to grow closer to God. But what we all do, as I had to explain to my son using what I had to tell my friend as well, we will all hold on to an image in our heads of the good times, and we will just think that that should never change, when that is impossible. People grow, people will change, tastes will change. You can never be locked into place. And so I feel as you change, as your relationships will change, the one thing that will still remain constant is God, and his love for you will never change. And we should always be grateful for that. But with that, we should also have the patience and humility to understand that we will have those seasons or that image of something good going on in our lives, in our relationships. We should remember those and not see them as this is how the relationship should be all the time. We should see that as more as an opportunity to remember this is a highlight, a good moment. We shouldn't just base that if the relationship is not like this at all times, then it's not a good relationship or I should just leave. This is just a highlight moment, and that we should be okay and happy to enjoy that moment. And it's okay to just be in that moment. And that the season will come where it will change, and again, that is okay. Just remember that good time and just bank that moment and understand that it was a good moment. We can always remember that as a good moment and just make that as a positive feeling that we can always come back to. But it should not be the dominating force or the driving force that says, well, this is how I have to base my relationship. If it's not like this 24/7, if God can't fulfill everything I want 24/7, if my wife or my friends can't just do what I want or keep me at this level of joy 24/7, it's not going to work out. Well, then, news for you, it's never going to work out, because you are never going to be at that peak joy 24/7. I assure you. As I know many men of our elders, I am 15 plus years of marriage. I can guarantee you, you will not sit at this level of joy all the time in your relationships. And that is no slight at my wife. I love her dearly, but you're going to dip, you're going to rise, and that is okay, because we are all human. We're all going to have changes come up in our lives. And again, that's why I read that scripture earlier. We need to be understanding that we are going to go through change, and that is okay. But I pray that when we do go through change, we walk through it together as a community, that we grow closer together. We try to understand why that change may be occurring. And in doing so, I pray that we all grow closer together and grow closer to God. I love you, and I hope that these words find you well. And by the grace of God, you have a glorious week.